Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. It is a weekend day, not to be confused with a weekday. This is Sunday, a weekend day, and on Sundays we do special selections. This one comes at us from Sean Murphy. It says, I think you'd really dig the Hirsch Effekt. Hirsch Effekt. The lyrics are all in German, but the music is super sick. Check out the song Agnosi. I probably pronounced both the band and the song wrong, but let's get into it. Right off the bat, we got, looks like a bass on the right. Angle's kind of weird. Guess we'll find out when the video starts. We got a drummer in the middle, guitarist, the guitarist has a microphone on the left, and then all the way on the left, we got some dude sitting in a chair. Not sure how that one fits in. Let's see, it says it has English subtitles, so we'll get those turned on. And let's get into this.
Herzlich willkommen in den Off-the-Road Studios zu Leipzig. Die Musikgruppe, die ich Ihnen jetzt vorstellen möchte, kommt aus Hannover und da fangen die Probleme schon an, denn aus Hannover kam noch nie etwas Gutes. Die Gruppe heißt The Hirsch Effekt. Ein deutscher Titel also mit vorgestelltem englischem Artikel, was vermutlich einen künstlerischen Anspruch suggerieren soll. Und wo wir gerade von Anspruch sprechen, die drei jungen Männer haben sich trotz ausreichender musikalischer Fähigkeiten für ein Ungetüm an Lärm und Gejammer entschieden. Warum auch immer. Sie wüten und grunzen. Die Texte schmieren es dem Hörer förmlich um die Ohren. Es geht dem Künstler nicht gut. Allem Anschein nach hat er Probleme mit dem weiblichen Geschlecht. Dabei kann er doch so gut Gitarre spielen. Mit dem mittlerweile dritten Album versuchen sie, auf den staatlichen Mindestlohn zu kommen. Allein, es will ihnen nicht so recht gelingen. Auch mit dem Song, den sie jetzt hier darbieten werden, Agnosie. Ein Lied, das man nicht zum Einschlafen hören sollte und zu jeder anderen Tageszeit auch nicht. Deswegen mein dringender Appell an Sie, tun Sie etwas Sinnvolles und schalten Sie jetzt aus.
Ooh, the halftime. So what was that, 7-8 we were in? It's only been like a minute now and I've seen so much talent on display. that bass tone though. Yeah, those ghost notes just giving some real nice texture here. And then the way that they're playing around with note textures. Yeah. Real strong grasp of time throughout this whole song as well. I love seeing this groovy side as well. Like, just such strong contrasts. Oh, real subtle. Switching to off gates there on the snare. Oh, it's just so disjointed. Clean. Clean. Wow. To say that I'm blown away might be a bit of an understatement. Is there anything that these guys can't do? I mean, we had like super rhythmic, almost genty stuff, just like super funky. We had some really nice, clean almost standard rock stuff going on with the clean harmonized vocals on top with just some chord work underneath. We have some ridiculous complex time sections that I really didn't even try to count just because I knew I would not be able to get it. Especially with just how quickly they move through sections, because most of that was at the beginning of the track when they were really playing around with time, and they were just moving through sections so quick. By the time if I even tried, I would have missed everything else that was going on and still not have landed on the time signature. So um, they have two vocalists who just can do everything. Um, and then the drummer is just, I don't know. This is just a strong combination. This is just a strong trio right here that I don't think have any limits. Um, Not to mention that there's so much emotion. Like, even when we step back, yes, what is on the paper, what is on the sheet music is ridiculously complex. What is performed is ridiculously complex. But even just as a casual listener, I don't think anybody I've made this. I'm not going to start like that. I've started a couple of our opinions with that, and I've been proven wrong. There are definitely people who who would walk away from this in a different state than me. However, I I feel that the song is highly emotive. Throughout the entire song, you can the rage is palpable. The well, I don't even know if it's rage. I don't know what the lyrics are. I assume it's upset. I assume there's anger to it because it is such a harsh opening. However, when we reach some of those clean sections, there's this cathartic release that almost feels like letting go of that anger. And I think it's not coincidental that we end in a clean section. We end with more harmony, and we end on a bit of a brighter section relatively than some of the heavy, darker aspects we saw throughout the track. Um, but yeah, so to me, that I emotionally connect with this, even though I have no idea what's going on in the lyrics. I think they just do a very good job of bringing that through, which is interesting because usually the songs that connect with me emotionally are the ones who have strong atmosphere that I can relate to. And the atmosphere for this one is not. I mean, every song has atmosphere. You can't not have atmosphere. It's the tone, not the musical tone, but more of the emotive tone of the song. A vulnerable singer and a lone piano do not necessarily evoke a wide or big or noticeable atmosphere, but the tone is still somber or sad, and that is the atmosphere of the track, even though it's not something as palpable as maybe the atmosphere of yesterday's Agalok. That one just oozes atmosphere. You can just feel it. It's not as powerful, but there's still an atmosphere to a vocalist and piano. And that's kind of how I feel here. Like the idea of atmosphere is not very strong, and that's usually what I tend to connect with is the overarching tones. But more so, I tend to connect with the individual delivery of sections here. And it's interesting that that is where I'm getting a lot of my emotional resonance rather than an overarching idea. However, I think that's one of the things that just has me enthralled by this. Not only just the music and the performance put on display, but how it speaks to me is a bit unusual in my experience. I tend to, like I said, I connect with songs differently than how I'm connecting here. So, yeah, mm, this song has captured my attention. That's for sure. Um, but yeah, to just kind of go over some overarching ideas. Time. Time is these guys are I don't know. I want to say time wizards, but I think I've said that too many times about bands like Animals as Leaders and Meshuggah and some other stuff where we've just approached some really interesting time modulation. Especially since I don't know. For all, like I said, the beginning is very chaotic. It feels chaotic time wise, but for all I know, I said when we checked out Clockworks by Meshuggah, I said that that was very chaotic in the time signature, and I was pointed out very quickly that the song is uh, either completely in or at least mostly in 4/4, and that it really deals with a lot of subdivision and polymeter and the way that they accent certain ideas and how the pattern of the rhythmic pattern doesn't necessarily fit within the 4/4, and it takes a long time to loop back to where the pattern's first downbeat is also beat one of a bar. Um, and for all I know, that could be happening here as well. But there were a couple of sections I said, at one time I said I think that was in 7/8, and that's because I definitely got a 7 beat feel, but it was just for that one pattern, which was a 2 bars, maybe tops. They were just moving around with stuff so quickly, and I can't believe that they're writing a song with so many time signature changes. It makes more sense to find a time signature that all of this could fit within and simply bend the time signature to the temporal values of the rhythms. That is not a sentence I thought I would ever say in my life. These guys got the time stone for real. But no, they could very easily just stick in 4/4 and then just write whatever they want, and then as long as they can remember what it feels to play it, that's more important than what's actually on the paper. As I've explained before, writing this time signature on your sheet music is more of an indicator to the performer. When your composer and performer are the same person, the time signature honestly doesn't really matter. As long as everybody who is playing understands the feel and can hit the cues, that's really the main point. It's to signify to the performer what the intended sound should be, or to provide some uh, cultural clues as to how it should sound. But of course, your conductor is also going to help with that as well. Um, if you were in like a larger, an orchestra or a big band setting or something. So it's a visual aid to help the performer understand what's going on in the music. Sort of rhythmically, the balance of it. I've explained before that in 5/4, there's two ways to read it. You emphasize 1 and 3, or you emphasize 1 and 4. Those are the two main ways of reading it. And it helps you understand that you're going to have an offset, emphasis. Whereas in 4/4, you might emphasize 1 and 3, and that's standard, or not an offset, it's an even emphasis. You're gonna emphasize every other beat. But that's all. It's really a shorthand to help a performer understand sort of the rhythm, the feel of a song. So, me kind of up here speculating: is this 4/4, and they just do whatever they want? Is it changing time signature every bar? It's really cool to break down analytically just to kind of get inside their mind, but when it comes to something this complex, it really doesn't matter because it could be written a dozen different ways and the outcome would be the same, because it really is just for the performer, for the composer to inform the performer, the general gist of how rhythmically the song should feel. But yes, they are doing some crazy things with time there. None of that little ramble there uh, diminishes just how effective and chaotic and disjointed that opening section feels because of either their choice in rhythmic pattern and the way that they accent notes, or because of changing time signatures, whatever. It is temporally disorienting. And I don't think I can downplay that, or I can't promote that enough. I can't I can't praise that enough. I don't know. It's just a phenomenally written intro, especially coming off of that vocal introduction to the band, the little bit of comedic digging, um, and then just to come in blaring right after that. It's a punch. And then when you're trying to get back up on your feet and find your balance again, they just don't let you. It's a phenomenal intro that I think is unintentionally elevated a bit by the vocal introduction to the band here in this specific session, this live recording. And then the song just continues to expand from there. We have, jumping around with time and complexity. We even reduce a bit of complexity and move from the shouting, yelling, growling layers to some nice clean harmonies. And we just keep bouncing around between those ideas of just this highly complex, heavy, brutal metal. And then this really clean, almost catchy in some instances. Like I said, rock. It really airs closer to the rock sound there. The drums kind of bring it down a notch. They're not so chaotic. They're not emphasizing their hits. I feel like the drummer doesn't hit as hard during these sections, and we get some nicer attacks, some smoother attacks on there. We shift to a lot of uh, chordal work rather than chaotic lead work in the guitar. We see some clean vocals come in, clean harmonies. And like I said, they kind of jump between these two ideas. And it's just phenomenal to kind of see the two extremes juxtaposed against each other so sharply. The transitions in this track are ridiculously sharp, just change in direction on a dime. And it is impressive just to kind of understand that there is huge technique changes vocally uh, with your playing. The drummer has to get into completely different mindsets. There's just a lot of physical and mental aspects that need to change between these two styles, and the fact that they just do it on a dime constantly, it's kind of just impressive on that front, just thinking about how the gears are turning in their head. I mean, I know by now probably a lot of it is muscle memory, it is just the performance. But that I also don't want to diminish that it still most likely takes a lot of concentration to put this show on. Assuming that the rest of their music's like this as well. I mean, assuming that this isn't a one-off, they have to they just have these two modes they're constantly switching between for an entire gig, an entire set. So yeah, just to say that I'm enthralled, I'm enamored by them, I think would be a bit of a downplay. I am fascinated at this point. I don't know anything else about them. This one song though is going to take over my mind for a bit. It is impressive on so many levels, and there's also so much more to dig into. I think I could listen to this song another 5 times and continue to find new things just because of the constant barrage. There's always something new being thrown at you. And I've mentioned before, I do orchestral listening, which means I listen to one instrument at a time and I move between them, picking up different ideas and comparing and contrasting what one instrument is doing to another. When I cycle through to the end, or maybe a new instrument gets a spotlight, I might switch to that. And I just kind of see how everything's working together on a granular individual level. Um, and that's not always the best way to go about this stuff. I've been told many times in the comments that I'm missing some of the more emotional stuff that's going on that a casual listener would get just by absorbing the entire song at once. And that's true. that, that is valid criticism to this approach. But I think the orchestral listening works best for what I'm trying to get out of doing these videos. But one of the main issues with it is that the more instruments that we have, or the faster that we move between sections, the less effective it is. either because we've moved on before I've hit all the instrument. Well, actually, that is in either situation. We've moved on to a new idea before I've gotten a chance to see every instrument individually and kind of coalesce an idea of how they all work together. And that happened here in many sections, where just a constant barrage of ideas and me trying to single them out, and then also realizing that we've moved on, and then trying to zero in on everything again. There's just a lot going on here in a small span, and it's going to really benefit me to listen to it quite a few times so I can take it all in. Of which I'm excited to do because I do really want to get into this song and really see what I've missed. There's a lot of fascinating things happening. However, that wraps this one up. Those are my thoughts. That's where you guys come in. Hit me up with yours. Let me know what you thought of the Hirsch Effect's Agnosi. If you enjoyed it or not. If this is their typical stuff, should I be digging into their discography if I enjoyed this? Or is this more on the extreme side and they do less extreme work usually? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments. There's also a description box above that if you'd like to check out any links adjacent to the channel. Maybe you'd like to join the Discord community and chat with the rest of the Critical Reaction fans, other music lovers. That I need to find a better way to describe us than music lovers. It always feels weird to say. Um, yeah, there's the Discord, there's the Patreon if you'd like to help support the channel. Another way to help support the channel is like, subscribe, ring the bell. All three of those things do well with the YouTube algorithm. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, with next week's theme, which is special selections. So I hope you dug what we listened to this weekend, because we're going to keep moving on with some of this randomness. There's no theme that ties everything together that we'll be listening to this week. It's just what people want me to check out. So sometimes we have actually run into some things where I'm like, wow, that all came together nicely, but it's all luck of the draw. We get random stuff, and that means we also get to check out stuff like Hirsch Effekt, which we probably would not check out in a theme, just because they seem to be very difficult to fit within a theme. And I don't know how popular they are. Um, I'm pretty sure they're in our request spreadsheet, but I don't know how many people want me to check them out. Oh, they're labeled as post-hardcore mathcore. And there's actually 8 tracks that are requested. And one of them was Agnosi, so we get to knock that one off the list. They've been around since 2008, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, maybe they would have shown up, maybe they won't. Who knows? But this is a way to definitely get those types of bands that are difficult to fit into themes on the channel. So we got 5 more days of that, and then Saturday and Sunday, of course, will also be special selection. Until next time, though, remember to be critical and not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.